Good evening, Midland. A special thank you goes out to the audience for being here this evening. Also, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all candidates representing wards 1, 2, and 3 for this election 218, each aspiring for a seat on Midland's council. So how about a round of applause for folks on the So tonight's Meet the Candidate session is hosted by MidlandCommunity.ca and sponsored in part by the Downtown Midland Business Improvement Area, DIA, and several engaged and valued businesses. My name is Roy Ellis, and it's my pleasure to open the meeting and review with you tonight's agenda. Before I do, I want to take a brief moment and address why we have sponsored such a high level of community engagement in Midland's election 218. It's simple. Midland matters. You matter, community engagement matters, and your vote matters. In fact, we believe it matters so much that we've asked Midland's own Nate Lacroix at the back of the room to film the event, which will be broadcast on our website and sent out to our contact members, hopefully in 3 days. Right, Nate? Okay, 2 days. There you go. Thanks. You know, we're fortunate to have 27 candidates step up this year in the hopes to serve you on Midland's next town council. 3 for mayor, 2 for deputy mayor, 10 candidates in Ward 1, 9 in Ward 2, and 3 in Ward 3. Now, who can name them all? Big prize. Given the significance of 27 candidates applying for 9 council positions, MidlandCommunity.ca felt it necessary to provide the voters of Midland with a variety of forums designed to get richer information about the candidates and, importantly, their vision for Midland. On our website, we have posted the candidates' responses to 4 key questions, which you'll likely hear them speak to this evening. And we do hope you enjoyed the read. While 19 of the 27 candidates responded to our request, we remain disappointed that some candidates missed the obvious opportunity to speak to their customers personally, namely you. It's worthy to note that 8 of 22 candidates running for offices in wards 1, 2, and 3 are not here this evening, 8 of 22. Some candidates had prior commitments and obligations, and I want to call them out because they did respond to us. George McDonald, a trip to Europe that he's had planned for years, and Shanna O'Bay, an educational matter. But as for the rest, the word silence comes to mind. So when considering your vote, it is indeed a fair question to ask those candidates who chose not to respond to the interview questionnaire, and also those absent tonight, why? With that said, we truly appreciate those who stand before you, and on behalf of the audience, we thank you for attending and for making this a priority in your lives this evening. We do have seats, folks, over here as well. These types of innovative community forums are designed to connect the voter to the candidate, allowing for additional insights into the individual and their platform, so that first and foremost, we get it right for the people of Midland. We believe this level of engagement will lead to increased voter participation and turnout at the polls, and ultimately put the best team in play necessary to help Midland's future arrive on schedule. Let's get to tonight's agenda. So before hearing from the candidates, I want to say out loud, we've asked the candidates to keep their remarks on topic and to be respectful at all times. And we would appreciate if everyone in the audience, if you provided that same courtesy. What follows now is a brief explanation on tonight's format. Through me, candidates will be asked to provide opening remarks, which are limited to 2 minutes. Following the 2-minute introductory remarks, we will proceed to the question and answer part of the evening. In terms of the batting order, we will start from the audience's left to right, beginning with Mr. Keith Day. I just met tonight. Nice to be here, Keith. Ward 1 candidate through to Ward 3, each seated in alphabetical order. The same question will be answered by 3 candidates in succession. So it's not by wards necessarily, it's by 3 concurrent candidates. So we will, by way of example, we will then ask candidate number 4, Beth Prost, and the next 2 candidates seated to her left a new and different question. For the record, we chose not to ask any questions of a personal nature or those questions that only affect a small part of the community. This is about 17,000 people strong. In effect, the format allows for the same question to be answered by 3 different candidates, however, not always, as I said, from the same ward. Candidates, please keep your answers during the Q&A period to 1 minute or less for each question. I've got this machine here, I know how to use it. And I'm going to try and work that and give you a 15-second warning on both your introductory, closing, and Q&A remarks. So I'd like to thank the many folks who took the time to send midlandcommunity.ca questions. We probably had 100 that were sent in from the community, which is fantastic. And I can truly say this community input has made for a more relevant and robust list of questions for which none of the candidates know what the questions are. Following the Q&A, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing remarks in an effort to win your hearts and minds, and ultimately your vote. During this time, the candidates are encouraged to comment on any topic, including those arising from tonight's question period, whereby you didn't receive that specific question. And to keep the evening both fair and efficient, a bell will sound, if we can do that, 15 seconds before, as I mentioned earlier, signaling your time to summarize your final thought, please. We are hopeful all candidates will stay around after the formal part of our event. As you know, this is followed by the mayor and deputy mayor venue at 8 o'clock until 9:30 to answer any specific question you may have which was unable to be addressed this evening. So again, thank you for attending, and let's begin. So, today, please, your 2 minutes opening remarks. Do you want to do it with the microphone, people, or it might be quicker if we? Sorry, it might be quicker if we use the mic at the table. Then we can get more questions in if that works. So I'll shut this off.
Is this working?
Yes.
It's working now. Hello, people. My name is Keith Day, and I'm a long-term resident of Midland. Since I've got 2 minutes, I'll be really, really fast. So, worked in the mechanical, civil field, semi-retired, and was working for the automotive industry for quite a while. And actually, I forgot to mention, I'm also the son of second generation running for council. For Councilor of Ward 1, my second generation, I don't know if you know him or not, remember my dad was that day. My dad is that day, and he ran for council between November of 1978 to November 1991, and he taught me a lot. So basically, it's, if you know, please don't hold it against me. But anyways, I'll just get on right to the meat of what I'm trying to make a statement. So I'm really concerned about things, and this is one of the reasons why I'm actually running, because being a homeowner and for 19 years and stuff like that, and same with my mom and dad, I have concerns about the town, the way things are going. We left, for example, anything from like we lost our leaf pickup to heavy coverage pickup. Sewers were never cleaned out. It took 2 years to clean out the sewers. The sewers we filled up with dirt, and so forth and so on. We have to pay for the bags. We were reimbursed for bags. We lived, me, my father, my parents, and my family at the time, actually my house and his house. We always had to pay for the bags. 110 bags. We live in the temperate forest of Midland, basically. But to be really fast, I'm looking after my parents full time, and this brings the concern of addressing the concerns of our ever-growing senior population. We have to make sure that they're taken care of. We have to look after our youth, but there's more seniors in this country and in this town more than anything. We have to learn about and help them out. Future of Midland Bay Landing is another
15
concern.
seconds, please.
And waterfront properties and concerns of many other things, contamination of accountable property lands. Midland Bay Landing and of course Edge Hill Park, and basically things like that. And since I'm constrained for time, that's pretty, I got more things. I got 50 platform topics to talk about, but I can talk to you on a personal basis on that. But basically, it's of many concerns of why I'm running. I'm basically running on anger, and I'm happy with the way that the town council is being running. So basically,
Thank you, Keith. And remember, folks, that you know, there's the Rogers broadcast. There's a 300-word process that we have on our website. The candidates likely all have websites, so what you don't get in here tonight, you know, you can go fishing and find in other places too. So thanks, Keith. Next to Larry, please. Larry.
Thank you. So my name is Larry Hurst. I've been a resident of Midland for over 60 years, just over. I was a marine engineer for the Canadian Coast Guard. I worked for them for 35 years. I spent 18 years in search and rescue on Georgian Bay. As chief engineer. I was also a project engineer and was responsible for predictive maintenance and contracts, some of the contracts were ranging up to $1 million. I was elected to the Georgian Bay Métis Council for 8 years. I sat as the chairperson on there, so I have good experience with them. It was a wonderful time. I planned and carried out lots of conservation projects in my time with the Georgian Bay Métis Council, with North Simcoe Anglers and Hunters and other conservation groups, the Bassmasters. Together we planted over 18,000 trees. We put in over 50 fish habitats, and we did stream reclamations to reclaim streams for fish. One of the most things I'm most proud of is working with the youth at the Georgian Bay Métis Council. I was running a program for bringing kids to Camp Kitchikawana, and through fundraising and corporate donations, I was managed to bring up kids every year with no cost to the parents, which was really nice, and we got to experience that. I also believe in a balanced budget, maintaining good services for our citizens, and I think our town needs good jobs and good wages. So Midlanders can plan for their future and not live paycheck to paycheck.
15 seconds, please, Larry.
Thank you. I will be the voice of the people. I want to hear your concerns and do something for you. My name is Larry Ferris, and I'm running for Councilor Ward 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. And I should have mentioned, please hold your applause. That way we can get through this and get to Q&A to the end, because everyone's doing a dynamite job. And Jonathan John Main, please.
Thank you. I'm going to stand up so I can see everybody. My name is Jonathan Main. I'm one of the current town councilors running again for re-election. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to serve you, the community, for the last 4 years. It's been quite a learning experience, and I think that's what I love about public policy. There's so many different facets, and cities are complex systems. So I really, it's been a great experience. So I live on 4th Street with my wife and my 2 young children, and I have a background in civil engineering society from McMaster University. And I volunteer and I coach with some community organizations in the town. One of the key public policy points that I want to highlight is the concept of livable communities. It's so important. Municipalities provide some key municipal services that really have a direct impact on quality of life in the community. And so age friendliness is now the buzzword about it, but it's about making it safe and accessible for kids and for seniors. And some simple measures involve street furniture. Do you have a complete street? Are there trees? Are there benches? Is there pedestrian lighting? And some of that achieves social goals, environmental goals, and economic goals as well. As I mentioned, trees, urban tree management is a really important thing. The beautification of our community is very important, especially growing up in the era of communities in bloom. It just is wonderful. And as we try to attract more tourists to our community, that's something that makes it look nice for us, because we enjoy it all year long, and then the visitors also appreciate that when they come. Community energy planning is another great tool. I know energy is a very hot topic in the province, and that's one of the municipal tools that we can look at to try to help alleviate some of the energy concerns. And community engagement is another key thing as well.
You have 15 seconds, please.
All right, guys, 50 seconds. Another key point which I'm going to highlight is mobility and transportation. It's so important to improve the walkability, the cyclability, and improve the transit so that everyone can get around our community. And that's a very, very key point. And I talk about that every time I get a chance to talk about transportation. I really highlight it because it's something that affects us every day. So I'll hold my works to that. So thanks so much.
Thanks very much, John. And over to Beth, please.
Thank you. I'm not going to try to squeeze my 4 minutes into 2. I can't talk that fast tonight. My name is Beth Prost, and I'm seeking a position as councillor in Ward 1. I've called Midland my home for 25 years of my life. I'm married and the mother of 4 wonderful young women. I work as a legal assistant at a law firm in Midland. Some of the experience that I come with, I've served as warden at the Anglican Church, president of the Next Door Teen Transitional Lodge, which I co-founded. Currently, and for the last 8 years, I serve on the board of directors for the Huronia Restorative Justice Project. My reason for seeking position as councillor is simple. Midland is my home, where my children and grandchildren are growing up. I'm passionate about the future of Midland and about everyone that makes Midland their home. I bring with me careful listening and consensus building. I'm no stranger to hard work and searching out difficult answers. I will always say it the way it is. I'm not afraid to stand up for others and for what I believe in. Listening to you is my primary goal. After all, this is your town. My vision is to see Midland move ahead in positive ways. We need a town where our children have the choice to remain here and find meaningful employment, where our public squares are safe and inviting. A town that invites diversity, a town that takes care of each other, a town to be proud of.
Thank you very much. You caught me off guard because you're quick. Roberta, please. Have fun.
My name is Roberta Bald, and I'm running for Midland Town Council because as a lawyer, I understand complex issues, and I am trained to ask questions in order to discover the truth. I have over 9 years of board experience and know the difference between governance and operations. And if elected, I will attend all council meetings, having read the materials and I will be prepared to ask questions. So my vision for Midland is a peaceful place to live with other respectful and diverse people who help each other and prosper with careful attention to our natural resources, including Georgian Bay and Little Lake Park. A place with good governance from council, along with good management by diligent town staff. I will encourage the creation of new jobs by supporting the Economic Development Corporation of North Simcoe, by keeping taxes as realistically low as possible, by encouraging youth to engage in community volunteering, and by promoting peaceful and law-abiding neighborhoods by closely monitoring law enforcement by the OPP and our municipal bylaw enforcement department. I have been serving the public for almost 20 years, including 16 years as a Crown prosecutor and now as criminal defense counsel. I'm highly educated but practical and have knowledge of science, law, research, governance, dispute resolution, negotiation, and small business finance. I've worked in 5 provinces
10 seconds, please, Roberta.
as a geologist and have traveled extensively in Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Glenn Canning.
Hello, my name is Glenn Canning. I'm a local business owner and employer here in town, and I've had the honor of being a councillor for the last 8 years. When I thought about running again this time, I asked the question, what is it we want in the government? How do we want government to respond? How do we want a government to act? And I thought about that. What we want is a government that will do the study, do the research to be able to make a reasonable and intelligent decision on the issues that we'll face in the future. And I've been really honored to know that the majority of council that I've served with over the last 4 years have approached each and every problem with that thought in mind. What is best for the community? What is best for the community? Not what is popular or what is going to make us popular, but what is best for the community. That's a simple core value that I think we should look for in anybody who runs for council. Will they be serving themselves or will they be serving the community? And that's a value that I can bring to council. Of course, you all know me well enough that I also believe in fiscal responsibility. Making sure that what we do, why we do it, we are always responsible in the way that we use your money, because it is your money. Those are the things I want to bring to council. I want to bring back to council. I've been proud to serve in this council. I've been proud of the decisions we've made. I've been proud of the way we have acted. We have avoided the petty silliness of the past. And that is something of a rarity in council. So, I hope you'll support me again this time. So I will try to continue that process, continue to bring those values to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Mr. Bill Gordon, please.
Thank you, Glenn. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bill Gordon. I'm running for Midland Council because after 24 years with the Midland Police Service, I remain passionate about serving my community. I'm a critical thinker and I make decisions based on evidence. Clearly, I'm a law and order candidate. I'm a professional communicator who can work with people from all walks of life and socioeconomic backgrounds. I'm an active listener who believes in seeking input from all sides of an issue and turning to independent subject matter expert for facts when needed. I believe in seeking input from stakeholders before making decisions that affect them, and I pledge to continue to put our community first. Among my many priorities for this term, I'm concerned about addressing the community safety issues downtown through targeted enforcement, outreach, and responsible funding of safety initiatives. The big dig and getting it right, the execution, and the lessons learned by our neighbors in Penetanguishene, and increased consultation with the downtown business stakeholders to make it happen right the first time. Midland Bay Landing, the development options. I'd like to see greater waterfront parkland preservation for our community, responsible development choices, and the fair application of development charges that should not be waived at our collective expense. I'd also support affordable housing initiatives, working with the county and the province to make Midland a squeaky wheel. We'll compete and win for projects and the funding that'll keep residents and attract new residents, with a focus on seniors and the ability to age affordably and safely at home. If my beliefs align with yours, I invite you to cast your Ward 2 votes for me, Bill Gordon, on or before October 22nd, or visit billgordon.ca for more details about me. Thank you, Roy, and your group for having me here this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Just a quick comment, if I could, clarification. The first 4 councillors here are from Ward 1. There are 7 from Ward 2, and the final 3 from Ward 3. Okay. We could have everyone say their wards, but that just takes extra time. So that's just a clarification, okay? Folks, there's lots of chairs over here on the right. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Todd Langevin.
Thank you for having me. I'm Todd Langevin, and excited to be running for a Ward 2 seat. I recently relocated here 8 years ago, and I've since settled down in Ward 2, just recently buying a home here in July. And since I've settled in and settled down, this is my opportunity to make it a positive impact and serve the community I now call home. I'm a small town boy, spent 20 years in the big city, had a successful career in marketing, design, and advertising, where big picture ideas and creative solutions were part of my everyday. My 30s, I had an opportunity to return to school and pursue my passion for the culinary arts, and I've been working in that field ever since, currently as a chef in long-term care here in Midland. I'm confident I have the right amount of life and work experience, passion and enthusiasm for public service, an open mind, and a willingness to learn new things and rise to a new challenge. I'm excited to see how together we can set the right priorities that matter to you, how we can work harder when it comes to transparency and community engagement, how we can make smart decisions when it comes to the public purse, public assets, or public land. I'm excited to see how together we continue to build up community assets and the social structures from which we all benefit. In order to thrive, or even for some in this town to survive, life should be affordable for all of us and all of its residents and business alike. I'm a sole income single parent, and living within my means actually means something to me. Out of my 3 utility bills this month, my water bill is actually the highest, just saying. Looking forward to supporting the EDC with their mission of bringing investment, business, and good paying jobs to Midland and area. When businesses leave, small towns die. We need to continue to push for growth and prosperity. I'm excited we have a Georgian College in our own backyard, promote education and skilled trades. And I'm excited to see how together we can work with our community partners to tackle the issues that should concern all of us: poverty, housing, mental health, substance abuse and addiction, and of course community safety. A rising tide should lift all boats. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. So the more we put our hearts and minds together, the better chance we'll have to affect the change we all seek. I know I'm not homegrown, not even well known, but I've doubled down in Midland, and I could end up spending half my life here.
15 seconds, please stop.
If you vote for me on October 22nd, we can spend the next 4 years working together to make well-informed, responsible decisions for the betterment of all and the community itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol McGinn Nichols, please.
Good evening, friends, family, and neighbors. I'm Carol McGinn Nichols. I'm seeking to represent you and Midland in the level of government that by design is the most interactive, close, and responsive to you. This is a level where an elect does not toe a party line and is duty-bound to serve you. Since I ran 4 years ago, a lot has changed for me and my family. It's family that reminds me that decisions made today are going to affect our future generations. My teens had to leave, and this is not something that I want for young families. I want them to be able to come back or to choose to stay here. Currently, I'm researching healthcare trends in remote, marginalized, and First Nation Métis dense communities. I support fair taxation and fiscal management, managing your money critically without compromising efficiency and services. We need to follow through on the service delivery review. I believe in 3, 5, and 8-year plans. I believe we need to be policy and planning proactive, making applications a clear, concise exercise that can be readily approved or disapproved based on community views and all applicable codes. In the EDCNS relatively short tenure, they have made some great gains, and I support their continued efforts. I realize serving the public in an elected post is a privilege. In regards to cannabis dispensaries, if council said yes now, you cannot change your mind. And we do not have any bylaws currently in place. If they say, or we say no, it can be temporary or a forever no. I support a public vote. This is your town and your decision, and you need to vote to tell us what you want. I wholeheartedly support...
Carol, 15 seconds, please.
Thank you, Bud. I wholeheartedly support the efforts and report from the Downtown Safety Committee. Amalgamation, it keeps coming up when I'm canvassing. If you chose that, I would advocate for boroughs to ensure proper and full representation because our 4 neighboring communities have some very great differences. If you approve of what I've said and support it, I need your vote. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Carol. Over to Cody Olszewski.
Hello, Midland. My name is Cody Olszewski, and I'm seeking re-election in Ward 2. I'm a born and raised Midland boy. I currently work as an electrician at TRW here in Midland. I've just been promoted to a leadership role after working there for 13 years. Both my parents live in Midland, as well as my girlfriend, and all 3 are here tonight. In my 4 years on council, I've worked very hard to be accessible, open, and accountable councillor. 4 years on council will surely age you 8 years. I created Floaty Fest, Jaws on the Lake, I created the Midland Youth Committee, I co-created the Downtown Movies, and I chaired the Midland Buttertart Festival, which brought the Beatles to Midland this year. I've hosted several community cleanups, business cash mobs, and fundraised for some very worthy causes. I worked hard to not only fulfill my obligation as a councillor, but also to bring new things to the town and be a great representative and advocate for the town of Midland. I'm a committed team player, and I'm hoping for a team of respectful and hardworking people to help run this town. I would be so grateful to be one of them. The next 4 years needs movement towards the development of Midland Bay Landing, full of public assets, a functional and accessible waterfront for all. This will enhance our downtown, which will also see a full revitalization on this term of council. It's important for so many reasons, one of the majors being the dumping of sewage into the bay when we have high rainwater events. Both these projects are multi-million-dollar projects and will ultimately shape Midland's waterfront for our future. Public consultation and working with businesses will ensure that we get this right together. Some other inevitable issues we will face are affordable housing, the opioid and other drug issues, and the legalization of cannabis. These are all matters that we need to be in front of, and we need to work with local groups to protect our residents, businesses, and landlords. While these are sensitive issues, they are extremely important and urgent in nature. I commit to hard work towards solutions for these issues with the future council if given the opportunity. I appreciate everyone's support last election, and I have tons left in the tank. I would be so proud to be Midland councillor for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. And Mr. Jonathan Reed, please.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Reed. I'm running for Ward 2 position. I ran 4 years ago, and I listened to and talked to a lot of different people, and I heard a lot of different perspectives on things. I've been a registered nurse and a nurse for about 17, 18 years. I work predominantly with mental health people over my professional career, about 16 years, working at Waypoint. Now I'm working at Bayshore, and I'm doing
Could you please speak up?
Okay, sorry.
You'd like us all to hear you.
Yes, I would, sorry.
Thank you.
I was just saying I've been a nurse for a long time, about 18 years. Since the last election, I wasn't successful in getting the spot that I wanted, but I was still interested in being a part of the town and staying involved in some way. I applied for a few committees, and I got on a sign variance and committee in the Committee of Adjustments. I've been working, going to those meetings every month for the last 4 years. Through that experience, I've really been working well with the employees of the town of Midland, and I've realized that how many really great resources and staff that we have working there. And I've really come to appreciate the knowledge that they offer, and I think that people are doing a really good job down there. I'm running because I've been a lifelong resident in Midland. I lived on Frederick Street for about 30 years, which is just beside us here. My mother also grew up in Penetang, and I spent a lot of time going between Midland and Penetang, and I kind of feel that in a lot of ways it's sort of the same town, and I think a lot of the issues that affect Midland also affect Penetang. I kind of want to help work good with Penetang.
15 seconds, please, Jonathan.
Anyway, my name's Jonathan Reed. I'm just running for the Ward 2 Councilor, and I really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And now we start Ward 3 candidates, starting with Cher Cunningham, please.
Thanks, Roy. Good evening. My name is Cher Cunningham. Some of you may recognize me from my time at Rogers TV, where I was the volunteer show host for Politically Speaking and Community Contact. That's part of where I got the bug for politics, as I started to hear some of the difficulties and problems and exciting opportunities of working with council and working with people of the town. It's also where I got the idea that deeper and more authentic community engagement was necessary, and that the responsibility was at council to bring that forward, to be proactive in informing people of what the opportunities and projects coming up were, keeping them up to date on and getting their informed input so they have that opportunity well in advance of public meetings to form those opinions. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a homeowner and a solopreneur. I live over in Sunnyside. And of course, we always love God's country out there. It is a gorgeous, wonderful place to live. In terms of work, I have a background in online marketing and web design, in teaching as well at Georgian College, where I was teaching tourism and discovered that everything is political. That was an exciting eye-opener for me as I reached out to communities to come into the classroom and discovered that most of those people were actually with a political background or a nonprofit background as well. And I also have business communications and coaching in my history. I work from home as a life coach, helping entrepreneurs and other community leaders find the resources and the confidence they need to make a difference in the world. Tonight, my goal is to share with you my values, my views, and what will drive me in my decision making, to give you a sense of my character. We'll get into a bunch of the issues as we go through questions, and I look forward to those. But as you look at my campaign materials, you'll see three main ideas: community engagement, vision, and accountability, in that order. We need to engage the community for some of the big projects that are coming up, including our official plan review that is going to be coming up in the new year with the natural heritage system involved in that, as well as our downtown, our waterfront. There's some big things coming along.
15 seconds, please, Cher.
At my core, I'm interested in facilitating authentic engagement, which means having a forum to bring people together to create informed opinions that are respected, listened to, and when appropriate, acted upon. But when not acted upon, the thought process behind it needs to be shared. I hope that after the formal portion of tonight's agenda, you'll feel comfortable to come up to me, ask me for deeper input on my views on the various issues, and discuss how I will serve you on council for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Cher. Elizabeth Lisa McFadden. Is it Lisa or Elizabeth? Lisa. Yes, thank you.
I'm Lisa McFadden. I'm running for Ward 3. I'm going to quote a quote from Gandhi, which I've been using on every meeting that I've been at. We need to be the change we want to see in the world. And I've added, in our country and our town. I'm in this campaign election for you, the people of Midland. I stand for all safety aspects in the community, seniors and youth, and our downtown core. But most importantly, as your counselor, my issues are your issues. I need to hear your voice. The only promise I can keep at this point is I will listen and I will advocate for you, Midland, your voice, our community. My resume and everything else about me, like Roy said, is on your page. There will also be a very good detailed resume in the history of what our education is on Thursday night with the chamber. So there is a lot more information, but I felt that these words were more important tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And our final candidate from Ward 3 is Elliot Sheaves. And Elliot, just to give you a heads up, when we do this about an hour from now, you're first at bat and we're going this way. Okay? Thank you, Elliot.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for Roy and his group for putting on tonight's forum. My name is Elliot Sheaves. I'm running to be councillor in Ward 3. I live in Sunnyside on Everton Road. I am a project management professional. I work here in Midland. My office is located on King Street. Prior to my work as a project management professional, I was an operations manager for a contracting firm based in King City. With my time there, we specialized in safety surfacing. I worked very closely with a lot of municipalities around the GTA, including Toronto, Aurora, Stouffville, Bradford, as well as projects with Canada's Wonderland, as well as Fallsview Casino, Water Park in Niagara Falls. These experiences really gave me a lot of opportunity to see how municipalities handle these type of large tenders, which I think is great experience with the capital projects coming up in the next 4 years. Having worked on King Street in Midland, I'm also very immersed in the downtown culture. I see everything that everybody up here is talking about. It's a huge part of my life. My wife also works in Midland, and we're raising our young family in Midland. So my commitment is to the town, is to put sustainable projects in place to make Midland what we all want it to be, and what everyone up here is talking about, and why you guys are all here listening to us. So again, thanks a lot for coming tonight. If you want to have more information on any of my experience, or if you want to reach out, please check out my website, votesheaves.ca. Feel free to call me, email me. I'm very accessible and happy to meet and discuss any of these things with you, one-on-one, in a group setting, at your house, my house. It doesn't matter. Thank you.
And thank you. Well, that wraps up the first part. That was easy. Don't you think the candidates all deserve a round of applause? Right on schedule. That's very unusual for any meeting, even council meetings occasionally. So, okay, we're going to get into the question and answer section. This will be about an hour. We anticipate 14 to 15 questions will be asked. The idea is, again, that we will ask one question to the first 3 candidates, and then we will go to the next 3, and so on and so forth. That format will change slightly for the mayors and deputy mayors, but we'll get into that a little later on. So to Keith, Larry, and John, starting with Keith, a vibrant downtown core is seen as an essential component for a healthy urban center. Midland is the urban center for North Simcoe. Do you support the current vision and the estimated costs for revitalizing Midland's downtown core? Keith, yeah, we need a microphone for Keith. Well, that's a one-man band. Thank you. I'll have to take a second. There you go, sir.
Thank you very much. All I got. Anyways, yes, the revitalization of the downtown core is very important. From what I heard, compared to Pantang machine, we're looking into a big dig, as they say, for Midland. That's actually digging up the road and fixing up the sewers, the pipes that they need fixing. Yes, I agree with that, only to a certain degree. As far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, things right downtown is not as important as getting that sewage treatment plant revitalized and fixed up. And but yes, revitalization of the downtown core is important. The money that's being spent right now, or should or will be, I still and really emphasize, given the amount of development that's happening in this town right now, down by about where Walmart is, and Ward 3, they're going to be switching over to the septic systems, removing septic systems for environmental reasons, which I do support. In Ward 3, which we had my parents and my grandparents had a cottage for 25 years and sold the cottage in 1987, that they're going to have to go on town sewers. So basic and systems. That's going to be more stress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And to Larry, same question.
Okay, thank you. I do support the revitalization of the downtown core. Any community can have a big box store anywhere, but you know, the downtown core gives you your heart and spirit of your town. I also think that not just that we need to revitalize the infrastructure underneath the work, and by changing the storm sewers and the sewage so that they're separate, so we're not having as much strain on our sewage plant. I also think we need to look at, once we get all this done, we need to look at policing and making sure that our downtown core is safe, and that the people down there come to we don't just have a beautiful place to go, but you feel safe while you're down there, and it's worth going down to. So I think we have a lot of great businesses down there, and I think it's a good opportunity to get everything back on track. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jonathan?
Thank you very much. Yeah, downtown revitalization is paramount. It's absolutely number one. And I've been involved with the downtown steering committee for the upcoming King Street reconstruction, and that's what it's all about. We have to replace the pipes under the ground. We have to move away from combined sewers. We have to separate stormwater management pipes from the sanitary sewers. So that's key. We're going to have to do it, and so there's a massive price tag. And so hopefully we can try to get provincial and federal fundings. Probably less likely getting provincial funding, but infrastructure funds do come available, and you have to have a shovel-ready project. We've spent the last 2.5 years trying to get that project so it's shovel-ready, so we can pull the trigger whenever we get some funding. But it's not just about fixing the pipes that's going to improve the downtown. It's all about public realm, and it's about lighting, streets, street furniture. It's the whole concept of streetscaping and making the concept of sticky streets. People want to come downtown, stay downtown, hang out downtown, shop downtown, and it's more than just about pipes. Special events we can animate and make the most of our downtown. We've seen that to be so successful with the Ontario Butter Truck Festival. King Street is the main event. You close the event and you have 50,000 people and you sell 150,000 butter tarts and we have a blast. And there's little things that you can do, and we're going to keep advocating for the little wins, the paint on the sidewalk and the trees and the benches and the special events, and bring us all together. So it's more than just pipes. It's about coming together as a community and really tweaking the public realm. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And over to Beth, Roberta, and Glenn in this order. While Town Council has kept recent tax increases at or below inflation, do you agree Midland's tax rates still remain high? If so, how would you begin to reduce costs? Provide us with perhaps your top 3 ideas to reduce Midland's taxes.
Okay, I'll do my best. I think taxes are high, but I think taxes pay for a lot of things. They pay for the services that we have. As far as keeping them, I don't know if we could ever make them lower, but keeping them at least not on the rise. Honestly, I'd have to really think about it. I don't have the answer. I don't know what that would be. To keep taxes low. Sorry.
It's okay.
I have to research, and I'm still out talking to people. I'm still knocking on doors, and I'm ready to listen to council and the experts. I will have answers. I could give it to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. And you do have a website that most of you can communicate, and if you want to take another shot at that, or even in your closing remarks, by all means you can, you're welcome to do that. So Roberta, please, same question.
Yes, thank you. Well, often groups look for efficiencies. And efficiencies mean, well, can we do something better? Can we do it more efficiently so that we save some money? Now, the thing is that the taxes probably have to be increased with respect to the cost of living, because everything is going up in price. So there is often some increases in taxes. However, again, it's very difficult for some people, because there's a lot of people who are on fixed income here in Midland and I will be in that category very soon. So it's difficult sometimes to always have an increase in whether it's water, whatever, the utilities. So basically, I think that looking for efficiencies is the way to go at the moment.
Thank you very much. And Glenn Cannon, please.
Thank you. Are taxes too high? No. Aren't they always? In order to reduce taxes, you have to find efficiencies, and to that...
Can you hold the mic closer? Thanks.
To that end, we have initiated in this last council a service delivery review where we have identified numerous items where it could be done better, could be done more effectively, more efficiently. We set up a schedule to address those issues. Primarily, to give you an example, we found that even though we own certain software, we had not implemented it correctly, and therefore we were not being able to use the things to control our flow of accounting, and we were using more people than necessary to do the job. We were repeating tasks again and again and again. So this council has taken some steps to identify these areas that there is opportunities for new efficiencies, there is opportunity for improvement, and we've implemented it. I think there's more opportunity like that in the future, but it means that you have to be willing to, once again, go back and look at all the ways that you do things, everything you do, and then judge by whether or not you are better prepared to do better in the future. That was awkward.
Final 15 seconds, please.
Anyway, so in this regard, I think that we're all in agreement that the best way to do this is to continually examine what you do, how you do it, and look for those improvements that can be made along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. New question, Mr. Bill Gordon. The province has recently approved the sale of the Midland Power Utility to Newmarket J Hydro. What are your thoughts on this decision?
Well, that's an easy one. I actually created a petition to save the PUC. So clearly I did not support the sale. However, there's lots of things in life that one doesn't support that you have to live with the consequences of. Therefore, the sale is done, and the transfer authority is happening, and there are opportunities that arrive, even out of things that aren't exactly what the community may have wanted. That being said, unpopular decisions are part of what happens in all forms of government, whether it be municipal, county, provincial, or federal. And I accept the fate of the MPUC, and I'm content to know that folks haven't lost their jobs, and that there are opportunities, and namely a large volume of cash coming our way, and a plan by the outgoing council to invest that and to make it available to a variety of initiatives. One of my concerns is that well-meaning investment will be short-lived. We have some very serious infrastructure challenges that are going to cost a lot of money. And I think we, in my opinion, have sold the goose that lays the golden eggs. But once again, my stance on this has been very public. I've been on television, I've been on the newspaper, I've been on the website that was started to try and save the PUC. So, 0 for 1 for that one. However, I can tell you that if elected to council, I accept that decision, and we're going to do the best we can with those funds and stretch them out the best we can and try and not to spend them all in one place and have them for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Todd, same question, please.
Yes, I wasn't part of that process and really wasn't engaged in what was happening with the hydro company. I understand that the costs were high and it was one of the highest costing ones in Polk County, or others for that matter. What's done is done, and now the money's there, and it's what you do with it, I guess, because obviously you've given up dividends down the road that you're no longer going to have. So it's crucial to earmark this money and make sure that it's what's done with it is best for everybody here, best for the town, and it just doesn't become one big everybody gets their hand out kind of thing. So unfortunately we can't go back in time, I guess, and I can't really say whether it was the best decision or not, but it is what it is, and moving forward we'll have to make good decisions when it comes to how we use that money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol?
Ouch. Thanks for a hard question. I have to admit that I wasn't party to the same information that the current council that is sitting was. So there was information that I would have been missing and he would have been missing. Fundamentally, I was against the sale of an asset that was bringing in money. However, I do understand that at the time that it was happening, that the Ontario Energy Board was quite aggressive and saying that if you didn't do this now, the asset was going to be valued at a different value. My opinion on that is that if something is an asset, it's an asset. And it has a certain amount of dividends. Yes, we had one of the highest delivery charges in electricity. But fundamentally, I want to protect your assets, and I would have preferred if that was the sort of thing that went to the public vote. As for what to do with the money that has come in, well, it's here. And I understand that there are 3 ways that that money is going to be saved. There's going to be a long-term plan, then there's going to be there's 15 seconds. I guess I'll have to add this to the end. So fundamentally, I'm against the sale of your assets without you saying that you actually want that to happen.
Thank you, Carol. And over to Cody. Cody, a new question. The town currently has a number of services that have been partnered with our neighbors in Penetanguishene. Those services include building inspections, public transit, a shared fire chief, and so on. Do you see this as a trend that should continue? If so, what other services might you suggest that should be explored?
Well, thank you. I think it's a great question, and I'm really passionate about the partnership we've got with the town of Penetanguishene. Not only would I like to see further partnership with Penetanguishene through youth programming. Penetanguishene does a great job at making public the programs they have for the youth and the programs that they have for the seniors, where we aren't quite as readily available with the information. I think we could learn from Penetanguishene with this. Event management as well. I often plan events and then find that I'm stepping on the toes of an event planner in a surrounding municipality. We should all work together to make our events bigger and better for the people that are coming here, and find a way for them to meet and visit all the different municipalities while they're here. We're all in the heart of Georgian Bay, and I think this is something I'm very passionate about. I think we need to keep these developments going, and yeah, I think we need to keep pushing forward on it.
Thank you, Cody. Jonathan?
I'm 100% agreeing that we should be sharing a lot of resources. To me, it makes sense that we have some people doing the same job in both municipalities. Sorry, I'm really. I know from working in the public sector that there are a lot of resources available to the community. It's just getting people aware of them and being able to access them and know what they are. So to me, working in partnership is really good, and just getting the word out there, working with our community partners and sharing what we have for resources and making everybody aware of the enormous services that are out there. A lot of times we kind of feel isolated, alone. We don't know where to go. We don't know where to turn to. And there is just so many services, and I think that any chance that we can to capitalize on these efficiencies and save money and do things that make sense for the town, we should be all over that. That's all I have to say about that.
And thank you very much.
If it makes sense, do it.
And Shara, your path. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that shared services are a wonderful step that lets us explore efficiencies without having to take the step into amalgamation in a rural provincial situation. Because you look at the funding that comes to us that will change as we change definitions of the size of our population, whether we're a town or a city. And it's important to explore the savings without giving up the privileges. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting when you think about it is that these artificial boundaries are not useful. We end up with so many different silos of services that are doing the same thing, where we could be using them as pillars to prop up a larger initiative. Especially that comes to mind, of course, is in tourism, where we have these artificial boundaries that our tourists just don't see. When we break down those boundaries and we work together to collaborate, we can have a much bigger impact. We're seeing that with First Light. So those of you who are going to First Light, you see that those candle lights are spreading through our whole town. I'd love it if we could see from North Simcoe from space at the candle lights on the First Light weekends. Getting those people working together in that fashion in our organizations also has to start with the municipality as we look at economic development, working with North Simcoe Community Futures, working with the town offices instead of all of those places duplicating efforts that are sometimes pulling in opposite directions.
Closing comment, sure.
Did it.
Yep, you did. Thank you. It's hard to see down there. And we have a new question for Lisa. And the question is, earlier this year, the OPP began policing Midland. OPP policing puts more officers on our streets and will also result in savings over the long haul. What are your thoughts about this decision and why?
I remember reading a lot of it in the newspaper when they put the proposal out on what it would cost in the first year, and a lot of people questioning, well, how do you know those costs, because unforeseen things happen. But that was their decision. I've watched it closely, and there's a lot of services that Midland was receiving that are not included in the cost for this first year. I don't know if it's continued for 3 years. Anything additional that we were used to, like the police officers that used to walk the beat, is an extra add. When I've been out and about, the community is concerned about how come we've lost some of these things that were visible and they can't see it now.
15 seconds, please.
I would like to investigate that more to find out, and we will know too in the first year, what it has actually cost us and what we lacked, what we did have. I feel very strongly that we don't have a real picture yet.
Thank you. And I think it's Elliot beside you. Yes, Elliot, please.
Thanks. I would agree with Lisa that right now it's difficult to have a really clear picture on what the overall impact is. Ultimately, I'm in favor of the OPP moving in. I think the added resources will be a good long-term solution for the town. I also think that having greater police presence in the town will help with the safety concerns that we're currently experiencing. And I also would love the opportunity to work more with them and apply the resources to necessary areas. Thanks.
And thank you very much. And we have a new question to Larry. You got a mic, Larry? Here it comes. We're on a low budget here, 2 mics. Hey, what do you think of the sound system? All pretty good?
Yes.
Hey, from the town of Midland, you're upgrading the sound system. You can hear now. Take off your hearing aids.
Hello.
All right. Larry, the question is, what big projects, big ticket projects, if any, should be started in the next term of council?
I think for big ticket projects, we need to look at the infrastructure and the big dig we got going downtown. There could be a lot of hidden surprises in there. We have 100-year-old piping that's going to be removed, so Lord knows what we're getting into there. But I think that's going to be our big thing, is to get our infrastructure in place, our sewage systems, and so that we're not dumping sewage into our lovely bay anymore. And I think we just need to get the infrastructure right. That's what I look at as for my big push. Thank you.
Thank you. And I should, back to Keith, please. Sorry, Keith, you should have let it pass there. My mistake. Same question. Unless you want to know one. No. The question is.
I have an answer for that one.
Do you need a break or what?
No.
What big ticket projects, if any, should be started in this term of the council, the next term of council, sorry.
The next term of council? I think I keep repeating this, as they upgraded that sewage treatment plant. We got the big dig downtown, but the thing is, the first thing that we need is that sewage treatment plant, because where there's an overflow or it goes into the lake, storm the whole bit. We got, again, that's the big one, okay? All the other things. We're worried about right now, the icing, then not the cake, you know what I'm saying? So basically, we got to look at the bread and butter issues of this, and this is the most important, okay? We can worry about everything else. The big dig and the revitalization is so important, yes. 100-year-old pipes got to be replaced if need be, but we got to worry about the sewage treatment plant. No more Edge Hill Park problems. Okay, Midland Bay Landing, make it a park. That's another big thing that we need to do. Not big developments so we can lose our view of the lake. This is our land. No one has the right to take it away from us. This is our land, okay? But we gotta worry about the big issues, and I keep emphasizing this, okay? So basically, let's get the important things out of the way, such as the sewage treatment plant, and worry about the other little things. Thank you.
Thank you. And the third at bat, Jonathan Main.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's a good, very, very good question, because infrastructure is incredibly expensive, and the price just keeps going up and up. And the town actually has been doing a very good job in asset management, but like people are talking about community engagement, we need to get more and more people in the loop in terms of linear capital assets, and when we replace the streets, and we try to do about one street a year, and some of the big major keys, obviously King Street is looking at us in the next 4 years, perhaps in the next 2, but overall, I think we're going to see some more infrastructure improvements. Stormwater management is going to be a big concern. We're going to have to continue with the separating the combined sewers. That's obviously, we try to pick that away every time we do a street here and there, and we've done a few in the last few years. Queen Street, Manly, Hugo Street East we're gearing up to do that one as well. But I will flip it, and I'll actually say what's more important is not to do the big stuff, it's to get all the little stuff right. And like I've been saying, the tactical urbanism or adaptive urbanism approach of trying to make the most of what we already have is actually more important. Improving the public realm with paint, trees, benches, and making what we already have livable is actually where we're going to have a higher impact with less money than focusing on the big ticket items, which we have to do, and we have to plan for that. So it's about long-term visioning, but also short-term actions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lot of passion in that question, I think. Okay? All right. Well, this is good. If we like that one, I think we're going to like the next one, Beth. And I messed up the order a little bit. I do apologize. I'm the only guy who knows it, but I want to be fair to the candidates. So, Beth, the question is this. Midland Bay Landing. Some see it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and others see it as a huge liability. What is your view and why?
Can I have the marijuana question?
Everyone wants the marijuana question. Come on, Beth. 40 acres, 3,300 linear feet of God's country, right?
It's a lot of
Go
land,
for it.
and I've recently done a lot of reading about it, and I understand that it's split up into parcels of land. I think there's opportunity for boardwalks, for public access, stores, possibly some living, which I don't know if I'm too keen on that part. But if it can be split up, and I forget the word, what they call it. It's like live, work, and play, all in one area. And I don't know that it would destroy the waterfront. From what I've read, that might be all that can be done with it. So far, I think we're going in the right direction. And if I were on council, or whoever is on council later, I would hope that they would make all their considerations very carefully and involve the public, because however it has to go, it does belong to Midland. It's what we look at every day where we live.
That wasn't that hard, Beth. Good job. Okay, Roberta, please.
Yes, I have read a lot about the Unimin property, and I do believe that council made the right decision when the former factory, there was some kind of factory there, silica manufacturer, they were going to sell it to another enterprise. So I believe that the fact that the town bought that property was a good decision. Now the thing is, we have to go a little bit slow because there may be some contaminants on that land. But it has a great potential for Midland to have a beautiful, part of the shoreline revitalized, I would say, and available to all the people in Midland. So my view is that in the future, hopefully we will do the right thing and get good decisions with respect to the Uniman property, but hopefully it'll be a very, very nice place for all of us in Midland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Glenn Canning, please, same question.
Thank you. The Midland Bay Landing is a great opportunity for the town. It's one of the reasons that I supported buying it for our purchase of the property in the first place. The plan that was put together was actually put together through a public process. For an 18-month period, we had, I think it was 6 different public meetings, visioning sessions, and other sessions to invite the public to say, how do we deal with this land? What is the vision that this land should be developed under? We have a problem. I would love to see the entire thing to be a park, but quite frankly, a town of our size, we cannot afford to do that. So we presented that question back to the public and said, what do you see? How can we make this the best piece of property we can? The answer came back that we should preserve 27% of the land for public places, for parkland. That the entire kilometer of the coast should be preserved for parkland. And a large park in the middle, connecting all of this to the existing trail system. At the same time, then the other parcels could be set out and to be turned into mixed development. In other words, commercial, condo, housing, and hotel.
15 seconds, please.
But so this plan was laid out and was done and adopted by talking to the people, by having meeting after meeting after meeting, public consultation. The plan is not council's plan. It is actually a plan that was developed by the people that attended those meetings, that were invited to, and everybody was invited to. They came out and gave their voice, gave their time, and gave their effort to help come up with a strategy to best use that land.
Thank you, Glenn. Bill, go into the same question, please.
Same one?
Yep.
Fantastic. I support, of course, the acquisition of Midland Bay Landing. I think we'd be crazy not to have taken it. Yeah, there's some remediation challenges ahead of us, and whatever developer we can find. I find it's a little troubling that our wonderful plan that we've adopted as a community, nobody wants to do anything with, other than that guy who was a fraudster. So that was a bit problematic for me. I think we need to do a bit better due diligence. If we're having trouble finding a developer who's interested in developing our plan, then one of two things is happening in my mind. Either our plan is ridiculous and nobody wants to touch it, or we just haven't opened up properly to try and advertise to find the right developer to do what we need to do there. As far as the development goes, personally, from campaigning, people want more park. They don't just want another boardwalk. We have one over in Aberdeen. They want parkland, they want meaningful parkland, they want a place to fly kites, they want a place to have music festivals, they want a place to have the Butter Tart Festival rather than lining up on our main street. There's a lot of fantastic opportunity with Midland Bay Landing. In the meantime, while we take time to get this right, we're servicing our debt. It's ours. It's not going to get foreclosed. Let's cut the grass. Let's start using it in the meantime. No one's going to get cancer walking on it. And let's take the time to re-engage the community, re-engage developers, and get this done right. It's the jewel of our community. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I do agree, Roy.
Thank you very much. And Todd, I'm going to get back on the cycle of 3 now. I struggle in math. So here we go, 3. Todd, Carol, and Cody, this question's coming your way. What business sectors can help revitalize Midland's economy? What should the town do to help existing businesses grow while attracting new ones? Todd.
The first that comes to mind would be, we have a lot of this in this area, would be healthcare. I mean, that's a growing industry as with our aging population. Obviously, it reflects some of the public that we have living in this area. And, I think there's a big opportunity there to be a hub for more services when it comes to that. So healthcare, obviously, and being that's provincial and, federally transferred money from the feds. Obviously, there should be some money there. The other thing would be education, obviously, with Georgian. I know it's a concern for people who have children here that like kids to be able to stay in the area. I think we have to foster that relationship and, get people in the skilled trades and matching, jobs with the kind of economy that we're going to have here moving forward. Other than that, it's, it's about good paying jobs. Anything that comes in that's going to put people to work. Not just companies flying in and, cashing out, but companies that are going to, be part of the community and sustain. So I think those are a few anyhow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question to you, Carol, please.
That actually encompasses a whole lot. And also, it encompasses the big dig, for one, because that's going to impact all the businesses that are down there. So while that is happening, we're going to have to support them and understand we can learn from Penetang. Some of the trends that I'm noticing and some of the research that I'm doing, yes, are in healthcare, but there's also there's an interest that it's interesting that I'm finding that there's a lot in regards to seniors' leisure needs and to youth and teens, which I didn't realize they're the same. There's a lot of things that are very similar. One of the things that was really interesting that happened was when Quest Art and I believe it was the Villa, they partnered up. These are the sorts of things that we need to support, I believe. And one of the ways to do it, to go out and ask. I believe in mentorships. I believe in going to industry leaders and saying, what are you seeing? What are you seeing the needs are? Then talking to innovators, thinking differently, being creative. Those things are the things that we need. I don't believe, oh, it's 15 seconds again.
There you go.
Home-based, you know the home-based ones that came out 4 years ago? Where you're allowed to have a small business? Entrepreneurs, that's where it starts. It starts small with families. We have to support these things with each other and in our community and support local.
Thank you very much, Carol, and to Mr. Cody Ochesky.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. We have in Midland what I'd like to call the skilled trades advantage. And I'm slightly biased because I'm an electrician, but having Georgian College Skilled Trades Campus here and having the EDCNS linking all the factories together is a huge advantage for us. I don't know if the public knows as much as people in the industry do, but EDCNS has linked all of the local factories and they pooled resources to recruit skilled trades and other good paying jobs to our area. They've sent ads all over North America. They're offering pre-apprenticeship programs and placement programs for young students in our area into factories to get them in the door towards skilled trades careers. And as Carol mentioned, entrepreneurs is something I'm very passionate about, small business and artisans. Just a small taste of bringing artisans back to Midland. When I booked all the bands for the Buttertear Festival this year, I booked all Midland bands except for a few out-of-town bands to bring to town for us because we have tens of thousands of people in town. We may as well be featuring our local bands, our local artisans, and our local businesses the best we can to make sure that they're getting the advantage from the tourism investments that we're making. So entrepreneurs, small business artisans, my tagline for my campaign is we've moved mountains for 4 years, now we need to plant seeds. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Cody. Jonathan, you get a new question. Let me just kill this.
Okay, make it a good one.
A good one. Yeah, it's not marijuana. Tell us what unique skills or competencies you would bring to council if you were elected, and what type of impact you might have in working with such a divergent group of individuals.
Well, yeah.
Sell yourself, baby.
Yeah, here you go. Well, because I've been working in mental health for so long, I'm so used to working with a lot of people that are under a lot of intense social pressures and under, you know, they have a lot of life stressors that are just so hard to deal with. Better repeat the question again.
Okay. Tell us what unique skills or competencies you would bring to council if you were elected, and what type of impact you might have in working with such a divergent group of individuals.
Well, I think one advantage I have is I have really good listening skills. I've been able to talk to a lot of people about a lot of very serious health issues over the years, and it takes it's a definitely developed skill. I think one thing that I think is important is that to get some kind of new people on council. I think there's been a lot of really good stuff that's happened over the last 4 years, and when I was campaigning 4 years ago, I was, you know, pretty upset with the you know, the current council, but I just think that things have gotten a lot better, and I'm struggling.
That's okay, because you only had 5 seconds, so. Thank you, Jonathan. And these aren't all our questions. These are some of your questions, and We're just putting them straight out there, and nobody knows the questions. So the next question over to you, Cher, is tell us about your unique skills and how you would work with such a divergent group like the partners you're sitting with at this table.
All right, thank you. I have to agree with Jonathan here. That working in mental health background with some listening skills is important when you're in council. I know I would interview you guys. It is a high-stress job. It's no glory, no fame. It is a governance job, and I think one of the key things that I bring is I love process, I love systems. When you're sitting in a governance position, you need to be following the policies and the infrastructure that are already sitting in place in a very transparent fashion. One of the things that I did in a previous position was I went through with a company called Eco-Installation Franchising, met with all of their franchisees in their head office, and we gutted their operations manual to make it true. So I went out to all the individual franchises and we set up a set of best practices so that every job description, every process, every training program came from these new best practices, so nobody was left questioning, how do I sell this? What can I claim? What is truth? What is the right and wrong way to do things? It turned me into a bit of a policy wonk. It's a geeky, wonderful thing to say we do it this way, and we do. It lets you stand in such solid integrity. If we don't have a policy and you have a question, let's write the policy as we answer the question. And that's what I'd like to bring to the table.
Thank you very much. Right on time. And same question, please, Lisa, to you.
I believe I bring quite a variety to the table. I've been involved in the financial industry for over 30 decades. I've been in management. I assist people with budgeting, mortgages in both residential and commercial. I know governing laws on building codes. And I've also sat on a few boards as a director. I learned a lot about governance when I was with the Huronia Community Foundation in charge of grants. And I've had my own business in between the financial world, and I've always believed that everyone should own their own business because then you make a very good worker and you understand really what you want to accomplish. So a little bit of everything that is involved, I believe, when you're sitting at that table with council. Thank you.
And thank you very much. New question, we'll start with Elliot. Some residents have raised their concerns about the safety of our streets. What will you do to make downtown and other parts of our community safer?
It's a good question. I think something that'll definitely help me in that regard is my involvement in the downtown community. I have a lot of strong exposure to incidents that have occurred downtown. For those who don't know, my office is located on King Street. It's in the Guardian Pharmacy parking lot, or the alleyway rather. I've helped people suffering from withdrawal symptoms off the alleyway. I've seen assaults in the parking lot. I've had to ask my mom not to walk my daughter home at certain times of day. These are things that matter to me. These are things that matter to the community I live in. I don't know exactly what to say. I didn't have a good answer scripted. I guess my promise is I'll work my ass off to make sure that the steering committee goes in the right direction and to make sure that everybody feels safe downtown so we can continue to rejuvenate King Street, we can encourage small business, and we can work towards a really strong core.
Thank you very much. Now, I promise to get the order right, Keith. We're going to need a mic down here, and we have one.
I'm ready for the marijuana question now.
You could make a bridge on this one, Keith, if you want.
Okay, later on.
We're talking about safety and our streets. Go ahead.
Safety on our streets?
Yeah. Some residents have raised their concerns about the safety of our streets. What will you do to make downtown and other parts of our community safer?
Well, safety takes many forms, basically. It's like, you know, like for example, the library, okay, we got some problems there, it's been on CTV News and so forth. So there's, well, they got a security presence right there, and it's a very good one, okay? A more police presence, I guess, OPP, downtown, because just recently, there was actually a story about how there's a lot of people with mentally challenged and stuff like that, so probably from what I heard, are having a problem, in fact, downtown. So we got to have sort of more of a police presence downtown. That sounds like martial law, so to speak. What choice do we have, basically? Make also, like, terms of, like, make the area safe for everyone to walk. And it's, basically, it's just more or less just trying to make us as a community, like, to make a long story short, safety is everyone's concern and everyone's responsibility. Okay, it's not just having the police down there all the time. It's all of us looking out for one another. Is basically what it is. Okay, we have a green book at work, and okay, just make a long story short, we're all responsible for each other's safety, but the police and security for the library and so forth. It is paramount. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the brevity at the end. So, Larry, same question to you. Do you want me to repeat it, or are you good?
No, I think I got the gist.
Okay.
So this one of the things I'm really concerned about is safety downtown. I know, like, since we moved to the OBP, there seems to be problems down there. I don't think just policing is the answer. I think it's something that really needs to be done. We need to protect our citizens. We need to protect our businesses down there. People are trying to do business in more ways than one, I guess, down there. We need to protect the legitimate businesses down there. And I don't think you can just police everything. I think mental health is an issue down there. I think drug addiction is an issue down there. We need to engage our partners like Wendat, the Guest House, Chickamauga, and George Bay General Hospital, and Waypoint. We need to partner with these people and get a good solution. It's not going to be a silver bullet to fix this. We need to work hard at this, and we need to get it so that we get our town back. We don't need this on our streets. We need to work with everybody to get help everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. New question, if I can figure out the time on that. This is to Jonathan. Think ahead to October 22, 2022, 4 years from now, and tell us about one accomplishment that you would be proud to have delivered for the taxpayers of Midland.
Oh, this is just a softball of a question. Oh man, what are we going to do in the next 4 years? Well, let's say, what have we done the last 4 years and what we're going to keep doing? Special events and tourism is huge. Been involved in organization and volunteering with the downtown movie nights. That's been a great success. We're 3 years in, and we've been able to, just with a projector and a screen, we've showed movies, we showed the Tragic Lake Head Festival, we did a video game night, we showed live sports. That's with one projector, and we've got a bang for a buck out of that thing. So that's one thing. The other thing, the biggest thing that, one of the most exciting things coming up in the next term of council is the Transportation Master Plan. And it's going to be a multimodal transportation plan. So we can look at active transportation in a real meaningful way. How do we make our town walkable, cycle-friendly? And that to me is one of the biggest important issues in the next 4 years, is improving the transportation of our community. I know that doesn't affect everybody, but I think it's very, very important. Moving our children to and from school is so critical. I mean, parents of Bunny's Bay and 7th Street and all the different schools, they're upset because school, all these cars showing up and instead of parents walking their kids. So if you make our streets safe for children to walk and play, that's going to be a huge highlight that hopefully we'll be able to achieve that in 4 years. So thank you.
Safety, thank you. And same question, please, to Beth.
Thank you. I think the first, I would say a healthier, safer Midland. Second would be affordable housing, which I think council needs to actively advocate for in this town. And community council, or community and council working together, really working together, and a good feeling in the community where we really joined as one.
Thank you. I'm going to have to get some new questions soon. You guys, brevity is super here. All right, the same question, please, to Roberta.
Yes, thank you. I would have to agree with Beth that one of the things is affordable housing, only because, you know, society is better when we help people who are disadvantaged or, you know, perhaps under the influence of drugs. I mean, they're addicts sometimes. We have to help them. They can't just hang around downtown. Once we finish the big dig, those benches, I hope they're not going to be basically some individual's home. So even though housing is not really a municipal responsibility, but we must look for a solution. And I'm not talking very extravagant housing for people who are homeless, but it has to be some kind of basic place for homeless people to go, hopefully with some support for the medical issues, addictions, mental health, and all that.
15 seconds, please, Roberta.
Yes. So that's my pick. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And we have a new question, starting with Glenn and Bill. Todd, you'll be in the queue. What would your priorities be for implementing the recommendations of the town's service delivery review report? SDR.
The service delivery review report brought a lot, showed a lot of flaws in that, in the way that we actually perform, the way we...
Yeah, a little louder, please, Ben.
Sorry. The service delivery review report brought forward a lot of things that we were doing wrong or incorrectly, that were not efficient enough. The most important thing to do right now, however, is to concentrate on automating our systems. At this point in time, we have too many things that we are doing manually, repeating again and again and again. It's a waste of effort, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time. So re-implementing the full software package that we've already paid for, that we've been paying for years, it was never properly implemented in the first place, would be the first thing that I would see do.
Thank you. Over to you, Bill.
I usually have a hard time hearing it in council, too. Do we need new microphones or just closer to the lips? Service delivery review. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I think we've just experienced one of the major components that, if you listen to my words, we neglected to deal with, and that was the security of our data and our personal information infrastructure in the town. My mind, that should have trickled up to the top, maybe because I'm an IT guy, but clearly we've had some huge challenges for many years. This isn't anything new, and for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to rehash tonight. I'm sure you guys all watch the news and read the paper. It wasn't a priority until too late. So that is one thing, because I have the background, and that's where I work right now in that field. I'm not planning on becoming the town's IT guy if I'm elected, but I do know a thing or two about it. And I'd be more than happy to sit in and help make sure we got this implemented properly so there's no round two. And if we are unfortunate enough to experience round two, we will mitigate that with proper backups and data storage. Security. Is that my beep right?
15 seconds.
Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff in that review. As council, we have a duty to follow it. I think the CAO did a tremendous job working with staff. And we have steps to take. And some of that needs to be taken sooner than later. It needs to be taken a little more seriously than it has been thus far.
Thank you very much. And Todd, same question.
Yes, I know, I don't know a lot of details of the review, but obviously with a lot of these reviews, you know, towns, municipalities, you know, they go through them and then they end up on a shelf somewhere collecting dust. So I think it's important that, you know, we look at everything in there and take seriously the things we can do to find efficiencies, synergies, whether they're within our own department or with shared communities. You know, like Bill said too, I think it's important that we keep our eye on, you know, focused on the things that are important. Things like security, you know, when we knew it was an issue in Wasaga, we knew it was an issue in other municipalities. You know, we got an insurance policy. I don't know. It just seems a little lackluster in our response. So I think we have to be forward-thinking when we're responding to things like that. We have to take these reports that people put time and money into seriously and do the things that make the most sense for the residents of Midland. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next question goes to Carol. So figure this guy out. Many of us know what issues and initiatives you support or have supported in the past, and many sound the same across all candidates. What is one issue or initiative that you did not or do not support, and why?
An initiative that I do not support. There hasn't been anything.
Well, did the council make any mistakes in the last 4 years? Here's your chance.
That's really not fair, because I have no idea if I get elected, I may have to sit with them. You know, worded that way, I would say that I would have liked less in camera. I understand why in camera does happen, and I understand that there were fines, and I did see that in the last 4 years, that there weren't as many. So kudos. That means then that I actually support that they changed. Okay, so for the first 3 years, it was like, come on guys, get this together, move forward on this. There was a couple of times where I wish there was a little bit more public engagement, and then they came back. They came back and they started doing more of that. So again, I wasn't happy at first, but I did notice that they did change and they started doing more of the public engagement. Something I really don't like. Oh, that 3.13 tax increase.
All right.
I didn't like that.
Too low or too high?
I didn't want it to go high, but I know that originally it was before that, and then they came down to 3.13, but really, you know, nobody likes paying taxes, but I understand that it had to be done. I understand that, and it has to be at or near the rate of inflation. We can't expect services, but I do expect that you're going to say, hey, you know what, squeeze your budget and be efficient and effective with it. So there's one thing I wasn't too happy with.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for clarification.
Over to Cody. Same question.
This is an interesting question, especially when you rephrase it, what did we do wrong for 4 years? And yeah, this is a tricky one for me. I was the lone vote against a few things. I think a few that stand out were the Midland Police OPP decision and the Yonge Street one, which I'm really surprised hasn't come up tonight. And I see Councillor May looking down the table at me. We've heard him speak so passionately tonight, and I hope he doesn't point fingers at me, but I was opposed to the Yonge Street reconfiguration with the bike lanes and the center turning lane. I'm starting to try to get used to it, but it's still not something that I'm excited about, but I'm glad we're getting some real information on the traffic studies on it and some useful feedback from our residents. So one way or another, we'll make the right decision. Assuming I'm back at the table, we'll make the right decision for our constituents.
Thank you. And Jonathan.
Okay, some of the things I didn't like over the last 4 years is getting rid of the leaf and heavy garbage pickup. I didn't really like the way that Midland police were treated when they went to OPP. I kind of think we should have had a little bit of a celebration. They were in our community for such a long time and they just kind of disappeared without a trace. I'm not really too happy about that. Midland or OPP, I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. I'm not really happy about the Midland PUC sale. I don't believe in selling off assets that make us money. A lot of people have said it tonight, but I really feel about getting a public vote on a lot of things. A lot of people feel that council goes ahead with things without proper community engagement and feedback. And I really feel for them being under the heat like that, but I do really feel that council generally does a really good job of trying to engage the community. It's just that sometimes we don't feel like that's really happening that much. I really hate what happened on Yonge Street. I don't like that at all. You know, I don't think we live in Toronto. I don't think we need to have bike lanes all the way up to the mall, but I think we're, you know, in a rural town. You know, I don't really have much to say. I always live on Frederick Street, so I find it's quite a nightmare pulling on there, but it's been a bit of a learning curve. You kind of get used to it, but that's about it. And those are my my big bones of contention for you.
Thank you. Okay, Cher, are you ready? I can't see you down there, but yeah, wave. All right. This question to Cher. In your view, how does the role of town staff differ from that of town council?
There are a lot of mistaken impressions about what a councillor does. We are there to provide guidance and then the staff pulls together and magically makes it happen. Okay, I know it's not magically, but we're not managers. We're not there to be micromanaging day to day. If you have a problem, you call staff. Staff is there to serve you. If you have any problem with staff, then you can come to council. While it's not our job to police them, because they are a wonderful team with some great people in place, when something goes wrong with the system, we need to know, because we're there envisioning the system based on the input of your ideas. When it comes to those public input meetings, filling those rooms with people who care and having councilmen who are going to listen, and not just listen, pet peeve coming up, but take that page of here's what we heard from the town and make sure that the report that comes out actually matches what we heard from the town. I don't know if you've been looking at some of these master plans where you go, but they said this is what we said, so why are you giving us that? So our job is to make sure that those voices that we drag you out and try to hear actually get reflected in the policies and the processes that we implement.
Thank you very much. And Lisa, same question, please.
I believe that the town staff, we have to rely on them because they're the professionals. It is their full-time job to gather the information and bring it to the table. We have to make sure we ask for that information. We have to make sure that when developers or planners, consultants are brought in, that we listen and we ask the questions. The thing is with relying on them, that's all we can do. We have to make sure that we're listening to you, the people of Midland, what your concerns are. I might backtrack a bit. We seem to always hear the last question, what we did right or what we did wrong, maybe after the fact. We need to see more people, you, the people of Midland, at those meetings when it's available to you, because that's where your voice will be heard, and that's where we can gather that information that you want to make those decisions and make them right. We can only rely on what's presented to us. We are, at the most part, volunteers, and we're advocating for you. So we work for you, and we need to listen to what you need.
Thank you. And we have a new question. Wait a sec, Elliot, sorry. I missed you.
That's okay.
Elliot, you've got to answer this question. How does council differ from the role of staff?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they do differ, but I think in more ways than not, they need to work together. I think the role of council is ultimately to hold the town staff accountable. It's to listen to everyone in the community, to bring your ideas to staff and to ensure that those ideas are being implemented properly, and then holding them accountable long-term so that these policies are sustainable and ultimately lead to growth and prosperity in our town.
Thank you very much. And this is the final round of questions, if we can get them in, and I don't want to leave anyone shortchanged, so please give your high headlines if you can, and then we will give everyone the opportunity to answer one more question, and then to do the 2-minute summation. And I appreciate the audience. You've been very, very patient. It's getting warm in here, but here we go, rapid fire. So to Keith, there's a serious affordable housing problem in Midland, with rents spiking up in the last few years. Is there a role for Midland to play in dealing with this problem?
Anything with that has government beside the name of any form of level of government, yes, it does. Basically, what we can, just like affordable housing for the seniors, just for one example, we got to rally the feds, the province, the county, and yes, Midland Council, make sure that this is possible. So, in order to keep, we have to keep rents down at in terms of inflation. But basically, we have to actually look at all 4 levels of government in order to make sure that rents for everyone is actually affordable, okay? So, basically, that's all I have to say about that. This stuff.
Thank you very much. And to Larry?
Thank you. I think, excuse me, sorry. One thing I think though is you need to have a level playing field for the landowners with low taxes and easy and rates for them to pay. If we're charging lots to the homeowners that are renting out the property, then that's going to be reflected in the cost. So I think as a town, that is our responsibility to make sure that they have a good playing field and that they can keep the rents low. So I think also we need to look at some more lower income for seniors. So it's really like to see for seniors. I like to see something like a flat system where they would have everything on one level, widened doorways, easy access for into the washrooms and stuff like that. I think that would be something that we could look at eventually. But I believe that the town has a role to play in this, and I think it's not going to be one of those silver bullet things. We're going to have to work with other governments, provincial, federal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jonathan.
Thank you. Yeah, affordable housing is really important, and everyone says that. Affordable housing is key, and we're all going to repeat back to you. But what are we going to do, and what have we done? So looking back in the last 4 years, the second units bylaw, although not popular, has actually had real-time positive impact on our community. We've been able to add units to existing houses. So it's basically, we're adding affordable housing units without adding a single brick or pipe into the ground. And that's really important because we continue to grow outwards, but we'll lose all of our beautiful natural heritage on the periphery community. Urban intensification is really important about growing up in a nice human scale manner. So we're not just putting 10, 20-story condos. 5 stories is usually a nice human scale. So updating the urban planning and zoning are going to be able to unlock affordable housing. So obviously the downtown core is going to be important. Intensification corridors is in our official plan, draft official plan. But there's a great opportunity with the town's former public works and parks yards on 4th Street in Ontario to either work with the county or maybe even a private developer to get some affordable housing. And it might just, some of them might just be townhouses, but some of it hopefully will be apartments. And I know rentals, apartments are very important. So rental apartments is a key for the housing sector. Sorry for dragging on.
A lot of passion there. Okay, over to Beth. Beth, do you think Midland lacks services or amenities that the next council needs to deliver? If so, what are they, and how would you pay for them?
I can't think of anything right now that we actually need that we're not receiving in some manner. I know the bus system is huge. It's going to make a big difference for everybody from Midland to Penetang to Barrie to Orillia, I believe. I'm actually quite happy with the services. I'm knocking on doors and I'm not hearing complaints. That's about all I can say until somebody tells me otherwise.
And Roberta, same question, please.
Yes. Well, we have been talking about affordable housing. So even though technically it is not the responsibility of the town, it's not a municipal responsibility. However, because of the security issues, that could be one of the reasons why we have some security issues. And so, you know, I think that in order to have safer streets, we do have to try to develop in partnership with others, whether it's another layer of government or developers, some kind of affordable housing for homeless people. Now, I'm just going to comment on the second suite in houses.
15 seconds, please, Roberta.
And that was a provincial, yes, thank you. That was a provincial initiative, but I can tell you in my neighborhood, there are so many cars and people because of that initiative. So it's not ideal sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Glenn.
Honestly, I've not been hearing anything about anybody asking for additional services. I do believe that the services we provide are proper and adequate for the town. The issue of affordable housing, which is coming up in this segment, even though it's not related, so let's deal with it. The town does have a role in that. We can adjust our delivery, our development charges so that they encourage developers to include affordable housing. We can make lands available, and like as Jonathan said, Ford Street and the operations depot lands, we can make that available so that we can extract money from the county to also make affordable housing more available in the town. But other than that, new services, I don't see anything on the horizon. Or perhaps adding bike racks to the buses would be the next most important thing to do.
Thank you. Next question to Mr. Bill Gordon. This question relates to use of fees, operating and capital costs for the rec center, where we are today. And they're mainly covered by all Midland taxpayers, with a small part covered by the fees users are charged. Should user fees be set to recover the full cost of these programs, including the facility-related expenses? Should there be a different rate charge for non-residents of Midland? What would you propose?
Well, that's one of those ones that I think the community needs to have a say in. This is the community's rec center. It's used by folks from all around the community, including our neighboring communities that we're proposing and are partnering with in many capacities. So I think it would be a little exclusive of us and disingenuous to start saying, well, you know, I'd like to partner with you for this, that, and the other thing, but hey, if you want to come visit the rec center, pony up. That might cause a few ripples. So I think we need to find a different way to do this. If the rec center is not profitable, then, I mean, there was rumblings of it determined to sell it, if you can imagine. It was one of the proposed divestments. And that great, yeah, you were there, that big list of things we could divest ourselves from, the asset sales. Now, thankfully, that wasn't entertained and it was pushed back, but I think the way to deal with cost overruns is to look for efficiencies. And I think there are efficiencies we can look for to keep this place profitable, or at least not in the red. What those are right now, I'm not going to profess to be an expert in that. I use this facility as my children grew up and love it. I've been here for all kinds of some of the best times of my life and some of the worst times of my life, right here, in this room actually. Some of the same people. So, I don't think we need to go after our community's gouging looking for dollars to keep this place running. I think we can find efficiencies, and I would look to the experts and the staff recommendations and thoughtfully consider that with my peers on council and make a decision that's congruent with the community and the neighboring communities that we purport to want to partner with.
Thank you very much. Todd, your question, please, Sam?
Yes, I think obviously if you know, we're not paying enough to cover the costs, then those are things that we'd have to look at. Obviously, if people that aren't living in Midland but are coming from outside the area are using it, then I think you know, if there needs to be adjustments that way, that you know, the money's going back into the capital of what this whole thing costs, obviously. But you know, I don't really want to nickel and dime residents when it comes down to community assets and spaces. If it's well used and well utilized and they love having it, you know, getting a little money here and there out of them, I'd rather, you know, like others have said, try to find the efficiencies or better utilize the place so it is actually covering its true cost.
Excellent, thanks. And to Carol.
When I ran 4 years ago, this was a question back then. And I remember that, and I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be tough. But this time around, it's not as tough. So the history of the rec center is one that quite a few of us are aware of, and that it started off where it was quite difficult to actually, you know, first of all, to agree to have the build, and then the location, and then the memorial that had to go up, and then it wasn't partnered with the YMCA, and it wasn't attached to other buildings. So it is a standalone building, and it is one of our assets. It does need to run a little more, and I agree with what I'm hearing here, that it does need to be run a little more efficient. I have gone often, I go to Barrie and Aurelia where they have an awesome, absolutely fantastic youth center. Now we have some space here that we utilize for something like Aurelia's youth center. Look for efficiencies and look for new and innovative, creative ways to bring more people in instead of making it somewhere that people don't want to come. Thank you very much.
Super. Thank you, Carol. Cody, technology can enhance our ability to manage our lives and our work. Which technology tools should councils have for communicating with the public and among themselves?
Well, thank you for this question. I wish I had more than a minute to talk about this. Anybody who's ever watched a council meeting knows that we need some serious upgrades in the town hall. Council meetings are not palatable. They're very tricky to watch, even if you're sitting in the same room. We have huge volume issues. The Rogers TV can be painful to watch as well, even more so than Rogers TV usually is. And I think that we really need to work on upgrading that technology, get some video systems going. We talked about open meetings and Skype meetings and people being able to phone into meetings. I think we're not quite there yet. We really need to upgrade the infrastructure, and when we do that, I will support the technology in meetings, but we've got a long way to go before we get there.
Thank you, Cody. Jonathan, same question, please.
I'd like to really see us utilizing online voting somehow. I don't know how we can engage the community more, get more input somehow, but I really think that is going to come up to the forefront again in the future somehow. I like to keep things simple. Talk to the people that know what's going on. Ask the frontline people what's going on. And if you don't know, I don't know a lot about technology, but consult the experts that know what they're doing. We're not the only community that has these issues. You have to reach out and talk to other people that have experienced these things and what have they done to problem solve the issues. What are some creative solutions? Glenn kind of talked a lot about finding efficiencies. A lot of people talk about finding efficiencies, and it's just reaching out, listening to the people, listening to the frontline people that are dealing with the stuff day to day, and really get their input, because they have their fingers on the heartbeat of what's going on.
Thank you for that. And Chair, same question.
Thank you so much. Technology is definitely something that I think we have not utilized well enough yet in the town. Our website is one of our key places that we can look to see where we've fallen behind when it comes to technology. I should be able to go if I ever got a traffic ticket and pay it online, but when it comes to some of the things that we are looking at from the town, being able to do some of our services, request my fire permit online. Why do I have to go down and stand in line and distract a staff member who has to go find another staff member who goes and finds the right color of paper to produce my fire permit, for goodness sakes? So some of the things in the service delivery review actually did focus on technology, and I think they were key. Another thing I'd like to see, imagine a website where you went to the town of Midland, found the dashboard for the waterfront master plan, figured out who the heck was the one person at town office who you could talk to, who would answer your questions and tell you what the status was, who would be willing to get back to you, and that you could track this in a transparent and accountable fashion. That's what I imagine when it comes to technology. Instead of reports that are sitting there that you have to dig and click and find, and then they don't actually have the year, and they're old enough that you're wondering, was that 2003 or 2018? Things that make it easy, because technology is not easy to use, and poor Penetanguishene, aren't you glad we get to go to the polls?
Sure. Final
Yes.
thought.
Aren't you glad we get to go to the polls here in Midland, because technology is tough to use. Let's make it simpler and easier, and we can do this with great technology.
Thank you. Final question to the panel, or to Lisa and Elliot, I should say. As a general principle, do you favor more or less government regulation? Please explain briefly. Real briefly.
Can you repeat, please?
As a general principle, do you favor more or less government regulation?
I'm thinking the question is kind of on side with what's happening in Toronto right now, that they want to have the mayors have more control and say over the council. I think that's what they're proposing downtown. I would call that a government control. I don't agree with that. I agree that we should stay within our own vicinity. The mayor and the deputy mayor and the people in the town office are the professionals, and they know what's best for our community.
Thank you. Elliot.
I think less governance is obviously the right answer, but I think that's only attainable if the right people are put in place. I think the only way to have less governance if there is a council in place that is working for the community. So that's why I encourage everybody to get out and vote, and especially if you're in Ward 3 to vote for me. And I look forward to the opportunity to show you and to prove to you that I'm sincere in saying that. Thanks.
So thank you, and that concludes our Q&A part of the evening. Elliot, while you've got that mic, no need to pass it back down. I want to thank you all. Hey, audience, how about we just all stand up? Thank you. Yes, I will introduce everyone's names again. Okay, so we're down to now, everyone stretch? Okay, we're in the third period now, the Stanley Cup. Here we go, seventh inning. All right, this is the 2-minute closing remarks, and remember, candidates, you may have had something fully prepared, and after hearing some of the questions, you want to blow up that speech, right? So, Elliot, you have 2 minutes to tell this audience why they should get you a vote.
Well, to be frank, 2 minutes isn't enough time. We talked about a lot of impactful things that are coming in the pipeline over the next 4 years. One thing I will reiterate is to take me up on my offer. If there are things, points of interest that you would like to discuss further, I am genuinely interested to hear those thoughts. I'm happy to come and meet and discuss them. I've met with some people in the room already. I also just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, for Roy for organizing the event. I also want to mention that I am running a free taxi service for anyone in Ward 3 who's not able to make it to the voting polls. You can find information on that on my website, votesheaves.ca. And I hope to meet some of you guys later on. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Elliot. And to Lisa.
Thank you. Change is difficult for all of us. Sometimes we don't realize how good change is till many years after. We can only make the right changes if we all talk to each other and work with each other. And that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to listen to you and help you, Midland, make these changes together. Your voice, our community.
Thank you very much. Chair Cunningham.
Thanks, Roy. On both sides of the table this evening, we've seen a huge group of committed citizens sitting here listening and thinking, who's the team that we want to see move forward? It's been a very exciting evening, and thank you all for coming, and thank you all the candidates for coming along to make this such a great challenge. I'm not going to say it was necessarily fun, but it's been a great challenge. Meeting people at the door has been very interesting as well, as I find out what's really on people's minds in their day-to-day life, because that's what municipal government really is. It's about your day-to-day life. It's not about something far off. It's affecting you on your streets, in your backyards, in somebody else's septic tank up against your backyard. A lot of things that happen at the municipal level that make it confusing sometimes for people to wonder, what does council do? And coming here to hear these questions can help kind of clarify that. What council can do, though, is to reach out as well to those other institutions, organizations, our local neighboring municipalities, provincial and federal, to go from that silos into pillars and create something bigger together. I'd really love to see a team that gets together, works respectfully, argues in debates, and had some wonderful ones at the commercial breaks on politically speaking, because we always ask the easy questions during the show. But when it comes to governance, it's really important to look outside of yourself first, when the whole team, reaching outside to talk to the community, and then bring it back to the team to say, what did you hear? And I'm looking forward to being part of that after October 22nd. Looking forward to working with you afterwards for the growth and the opportunity ahead. We do have big projects ahead, a strategic vision possibly in the offing that's going to focus our energy over the next 10 to 20 years. So I'm excited to hear your opinions and views as we move forward.
Thank you very much, Chair. Jonathan Reed, please.
I just want to say, living in Midland most of my life, I feel very proud that we have such a awesome caliber of candidates running this year. I don't feel like there's any bad choices at all. I think it comes down to, both the people in that care about the things that you care about, and if the things that we said tonight resonates with anyone, I encourage you to talk more a little bit more to them. I'm not as polished as some of the other candidates here, but I do consider Midland my home, and I have a lot of history here, and I kind of know a lot of things that we went through, and I want to be part of what's going forward in the future. I think a little bit of change is good. I think the council we have now is doing a good job, but like I kind of said to Gordon McKay 4 years ago, I said, I think you're doing a good job, but I want to do your job. So, like I said, I don't think there's any bad choices. I think there's, sometimes candidates come off a certain way initially, but I've gotten to know a lot of these people and hear their platforms, and I think they're all, I think we are in really good shape going forward for the next 4 years, regardless of what happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And Cody Olszewski, please.
Thank you very much. I should probably start by apologizing to Rogers TV. I know they're not recording here tonight, but I know Sharon will tell them if I don't apologize. So I think my main goal for Rogers TV would see as many people watch a Midland Council meeting as watch TV Bingo. I'm longing for that. That would be amazing. So there were some brief conversations about successful Midland in 2022. I saw a CTV News article that town declared themselves homeless free today, and that would be an amazing goal for 2022 or beyond at some point. So I'm really happy to hear some positive things about the previous council, and I'm really proud to have been on it. While we can't take credit for all of the successes of the last 4 years in Midland, it's definitely refreshing to see transit. The Mountain View Plaza is back up and booming. We're seeing growth, we're seeing events, we're seeing cruise ships in Midland for the first time in my lifetime anyway. So I think we've got momentum going, we've got Midland being recognized as a brand, and something that I'm very proud to represent. I speak about Midland everywhere I go, even at home. My family would tell you that I speak about Midland probably far too much. But I think it's something I've become very passionate about. This is my hobby, this is a big part of who I've become. So just a few of the points I want to touch on. We need to help create a welcoming environment for small business entrepreneurs and artisans. Strong focus on community safety immediately. We need to get Midland Bay Landing public as soon as possible. We've done extremely well with fiscal responsibility, economic development, and we're working hard on organizational excellence. I really think we worked hard to create momentum for Midland, and all while being respectful of each other. And I think that's important for the next few years. Whether or not I'm on the next council, I think that we've left it in very good hands. So Midland, I thank you for your support in the last 4 years, and I really appreciate 4 more. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Cody. Right on the buzzer. Carol McGinn Nichols, please.
The community that had said that they were they had great success. They had put out an 8-year report that is in Medicine Hat, and I can't take the credit for that because that was Dr. McNamara had sent that to me. And so I'm not the one that found it, but so credit due where credit is due. I think there's a lot that can be learned from them. There's some provincial and federal funding that is available to assist with those services. I said before that I realize serving the public in an elected post is a privilege, and I intend on carrying out my duties in whatever it is that I do in a collaborative and respectful manner. You are the town. I know it isn't always going to be easy. I expect that I'd have to work hard and consider new ideas and learn. For instance, it wasn't easy when members of Georgian Bay General Hospital, Save Our Services, started up. We had varying backgrounds, different strengths, and diversity. We also had a common goal, and we respected each other, even lifting each other up, and that actually happened to me. I was trusted to research and write a financial brief that showed how GBGH was underfunded. We then attended Queen's Park, where we had audience with the Deputy Minister, and we lobbied for adequate funding. The reason I tell you this is because 4 years ago I stood up here and I said that healthcare mattered, that seniors' needs mattered, that special needs mattered, that street-involved people mattered, that we are all one community. What I'm trying to showcase to you is that I will follow through. That is something that I will do, that is my character, that is my moral compass. I will follow through. So why vote for me? I'm not an expert in all issues. I know what I don't know, but I'm smart enough to know when and where to ask for assistance. I'm also smart enough and capable and comfortable enough to say, not my area of expertise, can you give me some time to go and find the right person or the right answer? I'm not going to stand up here and blow smoke up anybody's anything. That's just not the way to do it. I'll be as honest as I possibly can, and I'll try, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm really willing to consider new things with a diverse group of people up here. Thank you very much for your consideration and your time. If you would like to see me sit on council, please give me your vote. Carol McGinn Nichols, Ward 2 candidate.
Thank you, Carol. And Todd.
Hi, yes, thank you again. I'm ready to get back to the community that I live, work, and raise an awesome 9-year-old in. I love Midland and everything that Georgian Bay has to offer. I'm prepared, and there's a lot of great people here. I'm just prepared to be part of a team. I'm just one oar in a boat. But we can make progress and we can chart a course when you have a shared vision of what's best for the community and not necessarily ourselves. We need to collect facts and viewpoints and also learn from the past to help shape this future. I enjoy new challenges in life, whether it's returning to school in my 30s or becoming a volunteer firefighter in my 40s. And this experience alone has just been truly amazing. I'm really loving it, and it's great. And the other amazing thing in my life is being a dad. Being a parent requires patience, sacrifice, compassion, humility. I think these are all good traits when it comes to being a representative. So thank you for the opportunity. So I would just like to say, just get out and vote, quite frankly. Tell your friends, drive your neighbors, exercise your right, but let your voices be heard. And I'll leave you with the wonderful words of Benny Anderson and Bjorn Ovoyas. If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
How do I follow up ABBA?
Yeah. Mr. Bill Gordon.
Well, folks, I'm looking for a position as a board member on the corporation of the town of Midland. I'm moving from an enforcement background, 25 years of it, to governance. There are some big decisions to be made in the next 4 years and a lot of money to spend. We need people at the helm of the good ship Midland who are going to steer us clear of the rocks and the shoals and navigate towards a prosperous future for our families now and in the future. I believe I have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to be part of that team and represent part of the diversity that I'm asking you to send to council this year. We can't have just one female councillor. We need a representative council. Please consider gender while picking your candidates and fill council chambers with the diversity that reflects our community. Not just people who have the skills right now, but the people who have the knowledge and the wisdom to know that they don't have the skills right now, are willing to learn, listen, consult, and govern this community properly. I'd like to be part of that team, but there's some other fantastic candidates up here that I'd be proud to call fellow councillors. So once again, the polls open early in 10 days. If you can't make it out and want to line up like cattle here on the 22nd, get out to the early polls where it only takes a couple minutes to cast your vote. Exercise your democratic right, choose wisely, and pick Team Midland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill, and Glenn Canning.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a really interesting, enjoyable experience. I've been really happy to hear with some of the comments that I've heard here tonight. Again and again and again, people have mentioned EDCNS, and that was something that this council created. The first economic development effort that we have seen since, I think, 2007, to try and bring economic development back to our town, to help to maintain businesses and retain businesses within the town. And that was one of the things that we did, and I was proud of that. Through that, we also created the first tourism board that this town has seen, a tour board dedicated to bringing festivals and other ideas to the town, and I think you've seen the results of that in the last 4 years. The downtown's been a lot more fun to be at, the festivals, the arrival of this cruise ship, none of those things were accidents. And I was proud to be part of all of it. I've worked all these years, hopefully all these years, towards the idea of fiscal responsibility, and I was really pleased to hear Cody mention that he thought that we were fiscally responsible, and I believe we were. And I think I'd like to keep going in that direction. We have worked hard in the last 4 years to set a direction for the town, to set the culture of the town, that it will be open to serving the people of the town. That's what we're working towards. To ensure that this town is serving you and your needs, and doing it in a responsible and effective manner. I think I've been a good voice in that area, and I'd like to continue in that process. So thank you very much. My name is Glenn Canning.
Thank you, Glenn. Roberta, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I do also want to thank you for coming out on a Monday evening and sharing with us some discussion. I haven't really composed a closing statement. I just want to comment on two things that sort of came up while we were discussing things. And we were talking about sharing services and with other towns, Penetang and maybe Tiny and the other townships. Now, that is probably maybe a good idea. However, sometimes it might lead to amalgamation. And I'm originally from Sudbury. They did it, and now the roads are the responsibility of the municipality instead of the province doing snow removal and fixing the road. So think about that when, if and when this whole thing goes to the end of the process and amalgamation is being talked about. It's not really a good thing. The other thing is OPP, they have, and I know a lot about police because I've been a CRAM and now in defense. OPP have, people who are specialists, and they are not too far from here. They're in Aurelia. And so the OPP, I think that was a very good move on the part of council because they are very professional policing service. So my campaign is very low-key. I'm printing out my flyers. I'm going to every door, hopefully, in the near future. And so at any time, if people want to call me or email me, please do so. So I am a candidate in Ward 2, and I'm hoping for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberta. And now we have Beth Prost.
Okay, my speech is all mixed up. If you want to hear the whole thing, you have to come back Thursday. So I'm just going to do the best I can with what I have in front of me. I feel it's time that the community and council come together and create a happier, healthier Midland. I think that's something that we all want. I don't make decisions without listening and learning first. I will not sit here today and tell you that I know all the answers and I can fix anything or everything. But I do sit here today and tell you that I will listen. I will listen to each and every one of you, and I will assist any way that I can. If elected, it will be my honor to work for the residents of Midland and the corporation of the town of Midland. I thank you all for your time and consideration and look forward to meeting many more of you on my travels as I continue to knock on doors, which I won't be doing tonight. I'll be back out there tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Beth. And Jonathan Main, please.
Thank you very much. Well, to answer the question of why I'd be a qualified candidate, if you're impressed with Jonathan Main in 2014, you'll be really impressed with the new improved Jonathan Main in 2018, now with 4 years of municipal experience. And that last 4 years, I've tried to be an active participant in many of the different subcommittees, and I think that's what one of the greatest strengths that I bring to the table is a multidisciplinary approach to public policy. There's so many, like I said earlier, there's so many different parts to make up a great community, and I think try to be open-minded and to sort of fill your mind with knowledge and to continue to learn and to continue to collaborate is a really key point for that. I did want to touch on community engagement. That's something that keeps coming up from time to time. How do we properly engage the community? How do we disseminate information from the town? Obviously, there's digital tools that we can look at to do that, but most of the time people love to come and talk to in person. And having more informal public gatherings to talk about large plans, but also specific initiatives that we have as well. And youth engagement is really important, especially if we want to retain the youth in our community. We got to make it so they want to return. If they venture away and if they go to school, university, that they come back. And youth engagement has been proven to be a great tool for engaging our youth. I did also want to highlight culture and tourism and special events. That's been a great opportunity in the last 4 years, and I think that, again, we're going to keep looking at trying to build a full calendar of special events at our three major places: our waterfront, with the successes of the Rib Fest and the Canada 150 Feast Fest, our downtown with open street festivals, downtown movies, and Ontario's Best Butter Tart Festival, as well as Little Lake Park. And you can't even list all the great events that we have in Little Lake Park. And it's about the town has the hardware of the facilities, and that the community provides the software. And so continue working collaboratively on public policy, special events, and high-level stuff like urban planning, zoning, and I hate to say it, but transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Larry John Ferris.
Thank you. So I've worked on councils before, and I'm looking around, and there's some really nice people here, and I'm sure that I could work with all of these people, and I hope I get that opportunity. Good council has lots of different backgrounds coming to the table, and what they do with that makes a difference. I believe that our town needs to focus on the nuts and bolts of things. We need to look at our sewage systems, we need to look at the pipes, the plumbing, and we need to get that right. There's no sense painting the town if the stuff underneath the ground isn't working properly. We need to have our sewer systems and our stormwater systems separated. We need to stop polluting in Midland Bay. No one's really talked too much about the asset that we got sitting just outside, and that's our bay, our beautiful bay there. I also think we need to look at keeping our streets safe and working towards that. There's a lot of work there to be done, and I think we need to engage our partners and work with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a final, last but not least, Speaker Keith Day.
First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity and honor to speak to you tonight. This is my first Q&A debate. My father's was 40 years ago as of October 4th. My father, being the only son or the only child, taught me something. First of all, a politician represents the people. They serve the people. They talk to the people, communicate, they provide, and they also protect. They make this a better community and for the people, a better community for the people. My father taught me that. There's so many other things, aspects of the job, and my dad taught me that. It's so important. There's so many changes, I can't even name them tonight. It's on my flyer, but there's so many things that need to be changed. I'm not saying make Midland great again. That's not true. Midland, I know Trump, but it's true. Don't make Midland great again. Because Midland is great again, is great because of the people. We need improvement. There's so much needs to be done. Okay, so many things. I have about almost 100 changes to be made, but I emphasize the most important one, like that sewage treatment plant, and never have another edge-hill problem again. Just two things out of many. Okay? Basically, improvement is like Jell-O and Godiva chocolates. There's always room for it, right? It is so important that we positively improve the present and the future by learning from the past. Have we really done that? How have we learned from the past? That's where I come in. I believe I have the traits, just like my father did when he ran and was served as councillor, deputy reeve, and acting mayor between 1978 and 1991. I'm not elected official, people. I am the son of a politician, but I sure have been through the mill. He taught me greatly. And as of October 4th, and I know I put emphasis on my dad, it was a great milestone for me to have this as my first Q&A debate, just like it was for my father 40 years ago on October 4th. I will look after your needs, and I truly believe that I can look after you well and provide good representation. Your voice at council. Vote for Keith Day, October 22nd. And thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Keith. And I don't need the mic, keep it. So if we could indulge you for 5 minutes more, and then what we will do, we're ahead of schedule, which is a good thing. If the 5 mayor and deputy mayor candidates are here, and I'll just scan the room in a few minutes, we can start the next session at 7:50. That way we can get out of here a little sooner and give you the gift of time and mingle a bit with the politicians, or aspiring politicians. But I would like to invite at this time Scott Campbell from the BIA to basically thank this team of 14 that stood before you this evening. So Scotty, if you could, and then I'll rustle up the mayors and the deputy mayors while you're doing that. How's that? And then we'll do a 10-minute bio, right? We'll do a 10-minute break, stretch, and all that stuff, and be back at 7:50. Hopefully that works for everyone in the room.
Thanks, Roy. And as Roy said, I'm here to thank all the candidates here for council. And pretty soon we're going to hear from the candidates for deputy mayor and mayor. If anybody here does not know me, which probably is the case, I am Scott Campbell. I own property downtown. I work alongside the amazing staff at Grounded Coffee. I've been part of the Main Street off and on since 1995. And although I'm not born and raised in Midland, my parents and my children are. I feel I represent what's becoming a more common segment of the population, and that are people who choose to move here and raise our families, take jobs, start businesses, and also retire. Why? Because in my opinion, there is no better lifestyle choice in Ontario than living here in the heart of Georgian Bay. I've sat on the Downtown Master Plan Committee, the King Street Revitalization Committee, the Downtown Safety Committee, and I'm the current chair of the BIA. The BIA is a not-for-profit organization established for the main purpose of growing and improving the central business district of the town of Midland. We are comprised of about 120 various businesses with a total employee count somewhere over the 500 individual mark. In the next term of council, there are some big issues this council will need to work alongside with the BIA on. We are looking for a positive, cooperative, progressive council that will work with the needs of the BIA, its employees, and downtown property owners. Nobody knows the ins and outs of small business like the store owners downtown. We have invested our entire being into the operations of our business. We don't have time for a repressive, dysfunctional council. Remember, if elected, it is our tax dollars at stake, our savings, our future. You are making decisions for us on. So, what's next? King Street revitalization, or the Big Dig. There's already a plan. You need to find out all you can, if you don't already. You need to be creative and positive. Work with the BIA and the merchants. We will be suffering, but when it's over, we will have the best darn Main Street in Ontario. Midland Bay Landing. This gem along the waterfront is a massive, as of yet unused, asset to the town. Let's make sure future plans include strategies that will blend any new development with existing shops downtown and include a partnership with the expanded BIA to bring a unified appearance and marketing strategy to the entire business area downtown. BIA expansion in the near future, we would like to include a larger area governed by the BIA, creating a more cohesive feeling between the areas south of Elizabeth and including parts of First Street, Midland Ave, as well as future development along Midland Bay Landing. How about innovative parking strategies that work in favor of the merchants and don't penalize shoppers for choosing to support the heart of our town? Talk to me. I've got a folder with easily implementable ideas. And of course, downtown safety. Let's hope the new council can get on board with recommendations from the safety committee and progress some real change. Change that doesn't involve haphazardly dispensing funds without promise of deliverables or realized benefit to the broader community. These are some serious considerations for the BIA in downtown over the next term. While this happens, the BIA will continue to support our merchants with street plantings, furniture installation, contributing over $60,000 to our facade improvements. We've done that over the last 4 years. Targeted advertising promotions, supporting the Butter Tart Festival downtown. Downtown Movie Nights, girls' holiday event coming up on 16th and 17th of November. And on November 28th, the annual downtown tree lighting. For the third straight year, you can catch a city bus from downtown for free to St. Marie among the Huron and Martyrs Shrine for First Light. The buses run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, 3 weeks in a row starting November 29th. Shop local this holiday season. Anyways, good luck to everybody, all the candidates. I look forward to working with you in the coming months and the coming years. There's a lot to do, but in my experience, the harder you work, the better the results. Up next, we're going to take a short break. Yep, short break. There's also some energy bars if anybody's kind of feeling hungry. I know we planned this right over the dinner hour, so. Yeah.